Okay, fine. So in today's session, we'll go through few concepts to understand how these we have to manage within the Fusion applications, and we'll compare the same with EBS. In today's session, we'll talk about role-based access control. Role-based access control. In short, we call as RBAC. We'll discuss on this more detailed level, and along with that, we'll talk about users in Fusion applications. After discussing about users, we'll see how to create the user also, user creation. Okay, so this is the agenda for today's session. If time permits, we can discuss some other topic also. For now, let's take these for today's session agenda. Okay, done. So RBAC, role-based access control. Do you think this concept we have in EBS? Anyone, please? Do you think RBAC, role-based access control, we have in EBS? Anyone?
I think there is.
Yes. Where we use this? Yes, we have this concept in EBS also, but where we use this? Where do we use?
Cash management.
Okay. Very simple.
I think system admin has access, right, to control the give the access to the everything to the everybody, the users.
Yeah, that is. It's all about provisioning the access. Okay, giving the privileges to specific user, what they can access, and setting up restriction. Yes, those we do by using the sysadmin, but I'm referring the exact term called as role-based access control. So the point is very simple. Role-based access control primarily we use in web applications. Okay, through user management you can provision something when you are working on iExpense application, or it may be related to some bank account related role provisioning. If you are going to work on applications, modules, so for modules only, primarily this role based access control is applicable in EBS. In Fusion, the all applications are web applications. We are not going to have any form based applications. In EBS, the GL, APR, CMFA, you take any application, most of the applications are form based, not web applications. But in the Fusion, all applications they converted into web applications, they developed ADF pages. So that is the reason the complete security, the complete user security, they introduced with role-based access control, which is RBAC, where you can provision the access to the any user through this logic only. So as per EBS, so this is all about Fusion. When you talk about EBS, it could be 11i or R12. I'm not. It could be anything, any version. It is a very older version, 11i, and now we have released 12 R12. So EBS, if you want to give the access to specific user for any application, what we have to do? We have to create the responsibility. We have to create the responsibility. But my requirement is, take example GL application, general ledger application. So for general ledger application, we have a seeded menu called as GL super user, right? GL underscore super user. This is a seeded menu which consists of all GL related submenus and functions inside of submenus. So I want to give the access to one user. I am taking the user 1. I have a user called as user 1. I want to allow this user to have access to all the functionalities which are available within the GL super user. Can we give direct access to this user to this menu? Anyone please? Let's make it as very generic discussions on these few points. So here the point is we have a user 1 in EBS and we have one menu called as GL super user. I want to allow this user to have access to this GL super user menu. Menu consists of submenus and functions in EBS. Is it possible or not? If possible, how? If it is not possible, why?
Oh, can't you can create a responsibility and assign this menu
Okay. We
and
cannot,
assign responsibility to the user.
yes, we cannot provision this menu access for this user directly, right? So what we
That's
have to do
correct.
is to allow this user to access this menu, we have to create responsibility. We have to create responsibility. As a part of responsibility, we select this menu. Okay, when you create the responsibility, we select menu into responsibility. That means the menu will be part of responsibility. Finally, the responsibility will assign to user. Then what user will do? With the help of this responsibility, this user can have access to this menu. So this is how we provision any access to the user in EBS. Okay. What menu consists of in EBS? So in EBS we have a menu concept. Within the menu, what we have? What you can find
Function,
within the menu?
function,
Submenu.
Submenu.
submenu, function,
Submenu. Submenu consists of
Functions.
functions. Done. The same logic how it works in the Fusion. In EBS, in Fusion, instead of menus, we have roles. Okay, we have roles. In EBS, the menu you cannot associate to the user directly. With the help of responsibility only, we can associate menu to the user. But in the Fusion, equal to menus. This is one of the menu name we taken. Okay, equal to menus, we have a roles. But in Fusion, roles can be assigned directly to the user. Okay, so GL super user menu name. In the same way here, the role name could be general accountant. This is a role name. This is a menu name. EBS we have menus. In Fusion we have a roles. This is a role name. So here in EBS menu you cannot assign to the user directly. If you want to assign, you have to define the responsibility. With the help of responsibility only, you have to assign the menu access to specific user. Of course, we know along with the menu what else we can include within the responsibility. That let it be. But in Fusion, equal to menus, we have a roles. We have a roles. The role can be assigned to the user directly. In EBS, we have a menu. Within the menu, we have a submenu, and within the one menu, you can have multiple submenus, right? Again, what submenu can have another submenus also inside of it. Okay, that we know very well. So each submenu will have a functions, one or multiple, ideally multiple functions, right? So the same concept how we have in the Fusion. In Fusion we have a roles. Okay, the roles we call, this is the main menu, right? In EBS main menu, submenu, functions. So equal to EBS main menus, we have job roles. Equal to submenus, in Fusion we have duty roles. And equal to functions, in Fusion we have a privileges. Okay, so EBS, okay, menu is equal to Fusion job role, and EBS submenu equal to EBS submenu, in Fusion we have duty roles. And in Fusion EBS we have, within the submenu we can have functions. Equal to functions, in Fusion we have privileges. So this is the point we have to understand. Okay, now the question is, can when if you want to allow the user to have access to any menu, we are creating the responsibility, because directly we cannot assign the menu to user. That is the reason we are creating the responsibility. Can we assign the submenu to the user with the help of responsibility in EBS? I have one submenu. Can we assign that? Can we provision that submenu access to user directly through responsibility in EBS?
Submenu need to be created as a main menu.
Exactly. The same logic is applicable. Now you tell me here what we can assign to the user and what we cannot assign to the user. Only you can assign job roles to user. Can we assign the duty roles? In EBS you cannot assign submenus to the user with the help of responsibility directly. If you want to assign the submenu to the any user through responsibility, the submenu has to be created as a main menu. In the same way, if you want to assign any duty role to user, the duty role need to be created as a job role. By including one duty role or multiple duty roles, you have to create the job role. That job role only you can assign to the user. The same way, privileges. Directly you cannot assign functions to user with help of responsibility. If you want to associate, if you want to allow the user to have access to specific functions through responsibility, by grouping functions, we'll create one main menu. That main menu will assign to the responsibility. That's how user can have access to those functions with the help of responsibility. Same logic is applicable in Fusion also. Directly duty roles or privileges you cannot assign to the user. If you want to assign the duty roles or privileges to the user, those you have to create one or multiple duty roles or one or multiple privileges. You have to create as a job role that you can assign to the user. Hope this is clear to everyone. Now the simple point, in EBS, so when you talk about responsibility, that consists of menu, request group, data group. But primarily we are talking about menu. The other points we'll understand very soon. So we have a responsibility called as a GL responsibility. GL responsibility. And the GL responsibility we are going to assign to user 1. Do you think this user can perform the transactions within the GL responsibility? Only these 2 points only we are discussing. We created responsibility, and that responsibility we are assigning to the user 1. Do you think user 1 can perform the transactions within the GL responsibility?
Provided the responsibility has the menu with the
Yes,
necessary
GL responsibility means we are talking about responsibility. We know the meaning of responsibility. That means we have a responsibility. Without menu, we cannot create the responsibility, right? Menu is mandatory.
Correct.
So,
Correct, but the menu should have the right submenus.
yes, it has everything. Say we given the GL super user menu within this GL responsibility. That
Okay.
the GL access, the user can access through this responsibility, right? Now the
Okay.
question
Yes.
is, this user can perform the transactions by using the GL responsibility or not?
Transactions mean he
Uh,
can create the journal entries, all the GL functions he can do it, not the subledger functions.
No, I'm not talking about, yes, see, I'm not talking about subledger application. I'm talking about only GL. This user,
no, job roles needs to be assigned, Lakshman. Only when the role is assigned, he can do.
no, I'm talking about EBS.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
all options we need to assign to the responsibility.
What we have to assign? Work on GL, this user.
Yeah,
After you create
profile
the
options.
responsibility, do you think the profile options were taken care?
Yeah. Let's make it very simple to understand this. If
Lakshman,
you
if
want to
periods
allow,
are open and the primary ledger created, then we can record the journals in GL.
exactly, that is a key point. It's very simple. There are many things, but not we don't need to deal all those things. We have responsibility, the responsibility assigned to the user. If you want to allow this user to work on GL responsibility, at least we have to assign the primary ledger to this responsibility. That's it. You have to assign primary ledger to this responsibility. Done. That's all. Once you assign primary ledger, there will be the process of opening the periods. Then you can start working on it. So we are assigning the responsibility to the user, but this responsibility doesn't have access to this primary ledger data. Primary ledger data means calendar information, currency information, chart of account related information. So this responsibility need access to primary ledger data. Means this responsibility need data access. Which data access? Ledger data access. So if this primary ledger is not there, you cannot use it. The same thing, if you see in the fusion, no responsibility, in the place of responsibility will have a role. So in fusion also what we'll do, we'll have a primary ledger, or else in short you can write as PL. The primary ledger you have to associate with the role. So equal to GL responsibility, I am taking the role as a general accountant. Then this need to be assigned to user. Done. Okay. So this is how you have to provision the access. Primary ledger need to be mapped with the role. This combination should be associated with the user. Okay, this is how it works. Hope these points are clear. Now let's focus on the fusion related role based access control. What are the different type of roles we have? Okay, what are the different type of roles we have? We'll see that. So almost we discussed two type of roles: job roles, duty roles. The same I am going to write. Role types in fusion applications. Fine. It's very simple to understand. Almost we discussed job roles, duty roles, data roles, abstract roles. Okay, these are the four different type of roles we have in the fusion applications. So job roles are equal to EBS main menu. Duty roles are equal to EBS submenu. And data roles are equal to this combination. Data role means the role which is associated with the user, and again where the role has access to primary ledger. This example you can take. Comparison point of view this, but directly if you see in fusion case, data role means there will be one role. Okay, see here, data role. Data role. Okay, let me take this example here. The term you can look at that name data role. This is the data. This is the role first of all. General accountant is the role. General accountant is the role. This general accountant has access to primary ledger. This is the data, ledger data. In the same way, if you take example of payables manager. Payables manager is role. If the payables manager or payables responsibility need access to what? If it is GL, we map with the primary ledger. Of course, primary ledger we use in all the applications wherever you record the transactions. But when you talk about
It's
sub-ledger,
operating unit.
operating unit. Operating unit. So payables manager need to be mapped with the operating unit. The same operating unit in Fusion we are calling as business unit. Okay, we are calling as business unit, that anyway we will discuss. Or we can take the same term. Instead of operating unit in Fusion, that we are calling as business unit. Okay, so now here also same. This is the role. This role will have access to so and so business unit, ABC business unit or XYZ business unit. So this combination, role plus it could be primary ledger, role plus it could be business unit, role plus that could be inventory organization, or that could be HR organization, it could be anything. So the combination of role and the specific data access, this combination we call as data role. Okay, data role. Now exactly tell me this data role is equal to EBS what? Hope you got this point. Data role means so combination of data. Data means it can be, when you talk about GL, data means primary ledger. When you talk about sub-ledger application, business unit. This is equal to EBS what exactly?
Responsibility.
Yeah. Any other point?
A data set.
No, the exact answer. See, here it's very clear. Hope. Data role means combination of data. Data means it could be primary ledger or a business unit, and role. This how you can compare with EBS. What exactly the data role is equal to what in EBS?
Profile based responsibility, MO, org ID.
We are not talking about profiles here. We never use the term called as profile here. Just whatever we discussed and whatever you see on the screen, we are referring only these points. You may use profile option to map primary ledger to responsibility. That is there, but just we are not talking about, just that's not required for our discussions to understand these points. What is equal to data role in EBS? If you compare EBS with the Fusion, data role is equal to EBS what?
Responsibility, right?
Responsibility.
Super user?
No. See, simple. It's equal to not just responsibility or primary ledger and responsibility. If not this, your operating unit and responsibility, AP responsibility in that case, or AR responsibility. So that is the point. When you say responsibility, so inbuilt responsibility doesn't have access to primary ledger or operating units in EBS, right? That is the reason just I'm looking for the detail point. So the data role, the Fusion data role is equal to EBS responsibility plus primary ledger or responsibility plus operating unit or responsibility plus inventory organization or HR organization or something else. Okay, so this is how you can compare. And if you see this job roles, duty roles, data roles, these all are specific to applications. So job roles, duty roles, data roles will belongs to GL or AP or AR or CM or any other application. But we have another role type called as abstract role. This is very common role. This is common role. which need to be assigned to all the application users. It will provide some access privileges, which privileges employee required. So this abstract role is a common role. It's not specific to application. If user is going to work for payables or receivables or purchasing or projects or HCM or CRM, any areas of application, if some user is going to work on the application, we have to assign the abstract role, which is a common role. The example for these common roles are employee role. That means if anybody is going to access the application, ideally those are employees. When you say employees, as an employee, they need access to specific information. Say employee self-service access. Okay, so for that reason, this abstract role we use, but nothing to do with this abstract role much. Just whenever you create a user, we associate abstract role called as employee to every user, so that what information is required for employee, that information would be available for that user. We have to primarily understand about three roles: job roles, duty roles, data roles. Okay, but to understand how many type of roles we have, four type of roles. So we have to discuss few other points. Before that, any questions on this, please? Within whatever we discussed, any questions or any clarification required, please?
So, Lakshman, so regarding abstract roles with respect to EBS, is that something adding a person to the user?
No, not.
Okay.
That is not a role, right? That is just associating the user. The user belongs to which employee, so that whenever the user is going to perform any activity, system will understand, oh, this is a person is performing, and it will look at the permissions, whatever the person has. Those could be approvals or something else. Okay, it's all about giving some additional access to every user, where every user required employee related information. Say you are the user, you are working on the application. If you are the user, definitely you are the employee in the organization. So you need information where you can see your payslip information, and you want to update your personal information, and you want to raise the requisition for some, if you need something, and you want to claim some expenses what you are incurring, right? These are very general privileges every employee required in terms of application access. So those can be provisioned, those can be given to every user within the application if you can associate this abstract role called as employee to any user.
So as a consultant, even we should be assigned this role.
Yes, as a consultant also will assign. Of course, as a consultant, we won't be doing any business transactions, right? But it will give variety of not only that employee related. If you want to go and run some request in EBS, we run the reports right from SRS window.
Yeah.
So that sort of access also this role will provide for a user. If they want to run any reports, or if you want to run any requests, process related or output related, all can be provisioned by this role only. Okay, it provides employee self-service access primarily. Along with that, other privileges also, some report related access to run or say submit. Yeah, anyway, we'll see detail level one. We'll assign this to our user, and what we are able to see because of the specific role also we can test it within the application. Any other questions here, please? No questions. Okay. So in Fusion, we have a roles concept. Those are these four type of roles: job roles, duty roles, data roles, abstract roles. If you compare these roles with EBS, job roles are equal to EBS main menus, duty roles are equal to EBS submenus, data role is equal to EBS, where we assign primary ledger or operating unit to specific or the relevant responsibility. That combination we call as data roles. abstract roles means the common role. These are not specific to any application. When I talk about this employee, we know like it's related to HR definition, belongs to HR application, but ideally that should be used by every employee in the organization, every user required that role access to perform the relevant activities. So that is the reason we are treating as a common role which can be assigned to all the users. Fine. Now, so let's talk about the application versions. Okay, let's talk about applications versions. So,
So Lakshman,
yep.
when a user is created, you need to assign abstract role and data role.
Yeah,
That
I'm
is
coming to that
required.
point. Yeah, I'm coming to that point. Yes, definitely any role you have to assign. You have to assign the job role to the user, and we have to assign the data roles to the user, and we have to assign the abstract role to the user, and duty roles we cannot assign. Again, now we have to discuss about data roles. They did some changes in the latest versions. That point we are going to discuss. Yeah. Ideally, yes, the point is true. We have to assign these job roles, data roles, and the abstract roles to the user. But still, do you have a data roles concept or not? We are going to discuss now. So this is the instance we have.
Is this the first step you do when you are implementing for the first time?
Sorry?
Is this the first step you do after as soon as you get the access to the instance?
Oh, first step, you may create your own user. That will be covering. Okay. Just to show you the application version, I am going to log into the instance. That's it. So before we start working with the application, these are the points we have to understand. We should aware. We are not working on the application. Okay, we'll start working on it. The first step, very first step, what we can do is you may create your own user, or else Oracle will provide one user. With that you can start working on. From where we have to start anyway, we'll see that. Okay, I'll show you this instance version. Okay, I'll show you this instance version. If you want to see that any instance version, click on the username. Okay, go to about this application. Just click on this about this application hyperlink. Okay, it shows version. This is the actual version for this. Okay, so see here, this 18 and 5, these are some patch related specifications. You don't need to focus on that. So here you can say 11, Oracle just started with the very initial releases, but almost clients started using the this solutions from 7 onwards. Let me drag this. 8, 9, 10. Okay, 12. This could be 18.5 or 10 or anything. Anything you can take. Doesn't make big difference in top. to understand this. Okay. Fine. So when I talk about version, instance version, we have to understand few points. In case of EBS, we have 11i. This is series. Within that, we have 11.5.0, 11.5.10, 11.5.10.2, right? In EBS, very last version where Oracle stopped is 11.5.10.2. This is a very last version where Oracle stopped is 11i. And I talk about R12, release 12. There are many versions within that. Okay, there are many versions. So a few versions 12.1.3, the same way 12.1.5, 12.2.0, 12.2.5. That's how we have versions. So this is series, right? 11i is series R12. Within that subversions we have. The same way, however, you can represent EBS with 11i and R12. The fusion can be represented with 11G. But okay, this is a series. Okay, this is a series version. Okay, but within that, the reality, what ideally in case of fusion we use is release. Okay, those releases are in this second place. This version, if you see this here we call as release 7. This is release 8, release 9, release 10, release 11, release 12, release 13. The same you could see in the instance. This instance is release 13. Again, within release 13, they applied the different patches. They applied different patches. In 2018, 18 means 2018, around May month, they applied the patch. Again, they applied another patch, I think November month. So 1810 you can find in the other instance. Okay, if that patches are applied. So this is nothing, just it's a patch representation they are giving. This is the point we have to understand. This is a release 13 instance. Okay, so this is how you can identify the instance version. Fine. So what Oracle did is till release 11. Okay, till release 11 version, we have these 4 type of roles. From release 12 onwards, okay, out of these 4, we have only 3 roles. No data roles concept from release 12. So how it works up to release 11? This 11 we are referring, not the first one. So job roles Oracle provides, duty roles Oracle provides, abstract roles Oracle provides. How data roles can be handled up to release 11. So if you create the primary ledger, and one more point, for every application Oracle is providing the seeded job roles. Say for example, GL they are providing 5 seeded job roles. For AP application they are providing 3 seeded job roles. Okay, so for AR application they are providing 6 job roles. For FA application they are providing 1 job role, and CM application they are providing 1 job role. Okay, done. So this is how Oracle is providing. They are providing some seeded job roles for each and every application. Up to 11, release 11, what happens is if you create primary ledger, automatically system will create the job role. Sorry, data role. If you create the primary ledger, automatically system will create the data role. Data role means what do you mean data role? They are combination of primary ledger and job roles. So for every application, whatever the serial roles Oracle is providing, they'll maintain within the template. That means we have a concept called as GL role template. Within the GL role template, say we have a 5 GL roles. When you create the primer ledger, the primer ledger need to be associated definitely for GL related roles. The moment you create the primer ledger, automatically this primer ledger will be assigned to those 5 roles. That means automatically system will create the combination of job role and primer ledger. In the same way, if you create business unit, in the same EBS operating unit in Fusion we are calling as business unit. The moment you create the business unit, system will verify which applications are mapped at business unit level. Which applications are mapped at business unit level out of these 4 applications? We know very well. Let's talk about it. Out of those 4 applications, which applications are mapped at BU level or say as per EBS operating unit level?
APR.
Only APR, right? Now
Yeah.
what system will do is it will assign the business unit to AP related 3 roles automatically. It will assign the business unit to AR related 6 roles automatically. And if you create your asset book, automatically the asset book will be assigned to FA related role. Okay, cash management we don't map anything, that is a role, just job role without associating anything. So this is how up to 11 release 11, okay, up to release 11 this logic oracle introduced. That means the moment you create, if you create inventory organization, so inventory application, what are the roles we have, for all the roles inventory organization will get assigned. So that is a logic we have. So this little bit got failed. What happens is we got many issues. Okay, from the beginning of the product, this is the logic they provided. Okay, after release 11, before they come to move to release 12, they change this logic. So up to 11, what happens is the moment you create anything, this will get assigned to the relevant application related roles automatically. Even this, then what happens is these will get as assigned to this job roles, then that will become data role. That data role will assign to the user. That means the combination of role and specific data, that combination we are calling as data role, that will assign to user. So here if you take example of GL, the primer ledger and GL role, this combination system will create business unit and say AP role or AR role, anything. Now this one role you can assign to multiple users. How we assign responsibility to multiple users, the same way you can assign. Okay, so this is a concept we have up to 11, release 11. So what happening is, the issue is when system is creating the roles, yes, it is creating the data roles, it combination it is creating. When we are assigning this role to the user, when we are assigning, so we have a user 2, we are assigning this GL role to this user. When this user is trying to access this role, that means through GL role the user will have access to this primer ledger, but there are cases where the user 2 is not able to find the primer ledger. If you assign this business unit related AP role combination, this data role to user, there are some cases the user is not able to find the business unit. The reason, this is system automatically assigned. There are many issues clients faced or consultants faced when they are doing the configuration testing. The link between this primary ledger and GL role, or this business unit and AP role, the link is missing. Even the combination system is creating, really that those two are not getting synchronized automatically. There are many failures. So that is the reason there are many issues. Most of the issues on this data roles only up to 11, release 11. That is the reason what Oracle it is from release 12 onwards, they removed data roles concept. They remove data roles concept. If they remove data roles concept, what we have to do? So what we have to do is the same process we have to follow. Manually we have to do this activity, which is equal to data roles. So only we have these three roles: job roles, duty roles, and abstract roles from release 12 onwards. Now in the release 13 also the same. And to provide access to any user to any role, what we have to do? You have to select your user first. To that user, you have to assign the role. To that role, you have to associate your primary ledger. If it is a business unit, same process. So BU, you have to select specific subledger application role and user. So this is more or less equal to our EBS profile option assignment only. Okay, that we'll see once we get into that application. So if you want to associate with equal to profile options, we have security contest here, that we'll see, but for now try to understand this point. Okay, up to release 11, the data roles are created by system. That means the data access plus role, the combination we are calling a data role, that need to be assigned to the user. But from release 12 onwards, there is no data roles concept. Even if you create the primary ledger or business unit or asset book or inventory organization, system is not going to create data roles. So manually we have to assign that primary ledger to the GL related roles, including the user specification. So manually this is what we have to do. So this is all about how this roles concept we have up to release 11. After 11 means from 12 onwards, how we have and which roles are available, which roles they just totally removed. So these are the points to understand. Any questions on this, please?
So, Lakshman, so when we do this manually, this data roles, is that something in the back end the program runs?
Data
or
role
it is
not.
like
Data role manually we are not doing the data role. It's manually we are associating specific data access to particular user related role. So this user related role is general accountant. For this user related role, we are associating the primary ledger. This don't call as a data role. We are providing the data access for this user related role. That is primary ledger access, data access.
oh, this is only configuration then, so no program or such
No
runs in
program,
the
no program. Manually, we will go and select however we associate primary ledger
okay.
to, responsibility. And finally, responsibility will be assigned to user, right? In case of EBS also what we do, this is in the future. In case of EBS also what we do, same. As a primary ledger, we assign to responsibility.
And user, yeah.
That will assign to user. When since we are talking about just GL, that is the reason no BU, right? That's it. Operating. Same way. Here, how do you assign primary ledger to responsibility by using the profile option? In Fusion also equal to profile option, we have a security contest. By using the security contest, we assign primary ledger to general ledger role, and by using the GL ledger name profile option, we assign primary ledger to GL responsibility in EBS. We'll see once we get into the application, you get more understanding. But let's try to understand only these points here. So similar to EBS and Fusion also, we are doing this mapping. But up to release 11, these two automatically system will do this assignment. This combination we have to assign to the user. That's all.
Yeah, hello Lakshman, Samir here.
Yep.
Yeah, see, when you're talking about primary ledger, if we have multiple operating units, so can the user have the access to all the primary ledgers?
See, operating units are different and primary ledgers are different. What is our exact question? You are talking about GL related or AP related or AR related?
Related GL.
GL. Yeah. Now,
Yes.
what is your question? Your question is, can one user have access? Can have access to multiple primary ledgers?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that is possible, right? Even In EBS also, you can do that, right? Say for example, you have 10 primary ledgers, create 10 responsibilities, assign each primary ledger to one responsibility, then finally assign those 10 responsibility user. From each responsibility, user can have access to the specific primary ledger. That is one option. The other option, okay, this you can do up to 11i. From release 12, they given one feature called as ledger set. Okay, ledger set. The other option is data access set. By using this, you can group multiple ledgers. So if you have a 10 ledgers, the 10 ledgers of calendars and the chart of accounts are same. You can group all of them, create only one responsibility, assign that ledger set to that responsibility, so that from one user can have access to 10 ledgers, that too from single responsibility. Okay, here also that is possible. Then also you have a data access set concept, and ledger set concept also possible.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. The same way, when you talk about operating units in EBS, we have MOAC, right? Multi-org access control, where we create security profile by grouping multiple operating units. Those you can associate to specific users' responsibility. The same concept we have in the Fusion also. Okay, that also we are going to cover anyway in our classes. That remain same. Sorry, there was some network issue. Okay, so any other questions now, please? Any questions from anyone, please? Any questions?
Lakshman, I have one question.
Yeah.
Do we have a profile option assigning concept in Fusion Financials?
Yes, profile options concept also we have, but usage is very less. You know, in EBS, to configure the multi-org environment, we have to use different profile options. GL ledger name, HR user type, HR business group, HR security profile if required, MO operating unit, right? So these are the different profile options we have to use. Without using single profile option also, you can configure the similar environment in the Fusion. Okay.
Hello, Lakshman.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yep.
My question is, as you said, based on your example that I mean, after release 12, no data role concept is there, and we need to do the association.
Manually.
I mean, manually. So my question is, let's say we have one role, and the same role we want to associate to 5 users. So, like in release 12, so profile option,
you can do that without profile option. You can do it.
No, my question is, like in EBS, we create the responsibility, and then through profile option, we assign the profile option to the responsibility, and then at a time 5 users, we just assign the responsibility.
Yeah.
So here, this task of primary ledger and general accountant, this link.
No, got you. You have to do it 5 times. Here, no combination you can create. You cannot create the combination. Say this primary ledger and general accountant, you want to provision to 5 users. So this combination you cannot create, same as EBS. In EBS, create responsibility, assign primary ledger. That will become combination, right? Just directly assign responsibility to 100 users. Just 100 times you have to select and assign. But in the Fusion, it's not like that. You cannot create this combination. So if you want to assign to 5 users, go select user 1, select primary ledger, select general accountant, select user 2 and select this one by one. So up to release 11, that same logic. This is a combination as a data role.
Okay.
This combination you can assign to 5 users or 10 users or 20 users. You don't need to select again. This is already combined. But here you cannot combine. You can combine these 3 only at a time.
But this could be a business requirement any place, right? Like doing it manually. So Oracle has not provided any solution for this.
See, it's a one time for any user you do it. And if you want
Yeah.
to do directly through application, you do it, or else you keep this information in the spreadsheet and you can load it. Even if you want to keep in the spreadsheet and you want to load also, at least within the spreadsheet also you have to prepare the data, right? Right. The same information, if you are going to use multiple times, that is the best practice you can keep in the spreadsheet and you can load multiple times. But it's ultimately one-time job. As a part of maintenance,
Okay.
again, you may provision access to additional roles or additional data access. So that's totally different. So, no other option. If you want to, only the options are directly within the instance you can do through manual process, or else instead of doing within the instance, keep this information in the spreadsheet, then you can submit. That's all.
Okay. Okay. My another question is if I have a job role related to subledger like AP, so I need both access. That is the business unit access. I mean operating unit in case of R12 and the ledger. So how that link is established of the job role with of a subledger with both the primary ledger and the business unit?
When you create the business unit, okay,
Uh-huh.
after creating the business unit, we have one setup where we will map primary ledger to business unit.
Okay.
Then if you have a AP related role, okay, say payables supervisor, you will assign
Okay.
business unit to payables supervisor or specialist or payables manager. Done. When you assign the business unit to payables supervisor role, automatically this connectivity, whatever you establish, it will work. So this payables user will have access to BU data. Along with that, the payables manager role will use this primary ledger, calendar, chart of accounts, currency, etc. for this BU related transactions. That's
Okay.
how it can be established. We'll see those all. Yeah. Now it's a very valid question. Anyway, we'll see come across all these things. Any other questions here, please?
So Lakshman, so we are not using data loader or something in Fusion?
No, data loader you no need to use. Oracle is providing the many templates, okay, which we call as wrapped implementation spreadsheets, RI sheets, RI sheets, wrapped implementation sheets. RI stands for wrapped implementation. Okay, so in EBS we use for calendar loading the calendar information, to load the chart of accounts information. For everything we have a spreadsheets, and in Fusion calendar creation is automation. You no need to enter the periods and all. Specify the date range, it will create the accounting calendar automatically. No need to use any data loader sheets, data loader in the Fusion, not at all required. They're given enough flexibility to load the data into application with the help of wrapped implementation sheets as well as ADFDA sheets.
So even we can do some
Equal
custom.
to WebADA.
Okay.
EBS, we have WebADA, right? So, when you talk about financials, this WebADA is limited, very limited. GL you can use for journals, and then FA you can use for asset load. But in the Fusion, this WebADA concept they given as a ADFDA. By using this, you can load lot of data. You can perform many transactions within the spreadsheet that can be loaded into application. And other data you can load by using it's basically conversion data, migration time. FBDA sheets are called as templates. These are the different variety of spreadsheets we use. RI sheets, ADFDA sheets, templates, FBDA sheets are templates. for different purposes. These we have will be discussing once we get into that classes. We start working on, we'll understand detail level why we have these three different type of sheets, with which sheets what data we can load. Okay, you no need to use something like data loader or some other tools to load the data. We have these different templates or sheets availability. These will help us to load any sort of data.
And also this can be customized, right? So based on the business requirement, anything?
These cannot be customized. This
So add additional column.
no, you cannot. You have to use as it is. So these will have almost all the required fields. You want to use provide the data, you provide, or else ignore it. You cannot customize all this.
Something like,
If it is
something like
on
DFF and
premise,
all in.
if it is on premise, this ADFDA sheets you can create your own templates formats. How you do in EBS. WebAD you can create your own format templates, right? Same way you can do. Cloud it doesn't support. This is all you have to use as is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you said RI stands for rapid implementation. What does the ADFDI stands for, and what is FBDI stands for?
See, FBDI, file-based data import. Okay. ADF, application development framework. DI stands for data integrator. Okay. File-based data import. Yes. We can put the data in the sheets. We can create a file. That file, whatever the data we have in the file, that you can import into application. File-based data import. The data which is in the file, okay, the data you can import into application. So here in EBS case, we have WebADI. ADI means application desktop integrator. Here ADFDI is a technology which they used to build the web pages in the Fusion application. ADF. Okay, application development framework. By using the application development framework, they created spreadsheets which allows us, okay, for data integrations or desktop data integrations. That's the meaning of terms. Any other questions here, please?
Lakshman, this link which we are talking of, the primary ledger with the role, do we have a term for it? Like
No. This
when we link the primary ledger.
No. See, in EBS, to assign the primary ledger to GL responsibility, what we use?
Okay.
What we use? Profile option.
Sorry, your question, please. Yeah, profile option.
In Fusion, to map primary ledger to general accountant role, we use security contest.
Okay.
That's it. Here, profile option name will have, here also security contest name will have. That's all. We'll see those in the application. Okay, if we start discussing here itself without seeing it, some confusion, and you may expect for more clarification. Okay. Done. Any
So
other?
to assign multiple ledgers to the same user, you need to manually assign the primary ledger role and then the ledger 2 general account role.
No.
Ledger 3
here, see.
general account and
No. Here instead of primary ledger 1, I'll group all the primary ledgers. That group of primary ledgers, nothing but ledger set I'll assign to this general accountant. That's all. Instead of specific.
so ledger set can be assigned to general account.
Yes, exactly. However, ledger set can be assigned to responsibility in EBS. Same way here also we do.
Okay.
No, but in EBS, like as of today, let's say we have a setup where we have our Spanish users who say that we need APES manager, please assign us. So similarly, if it is Fusion, then let's say I have a role for Spain and I have another role for, let's say, UK. So this naming convention and all,
One
how
second,
does that happen?
one point. In EBS, responsibilities you can create the specific naming convention, how they need, where you need, who need, accordingly you may create. But these roles are common. See, standard. Okay, say payables manager you have. For payables manager, Spanish user need access means you may associate Spanish BU to this and you can select that Spanish user. And US user need payables user access. So you'll be selecting US business unit and the same role and US user. That's it. So roles you are not going to do anything. If you want to customize roles, you can do it. Oracle is providing the seeded roles. However, Oracle is providing the seeded menus in EBS. So in EBS also we'll create a number of custom menus as per business requirement. Which user required access to what. The same way, these roles also can be customized.
Okay.
You can accordingly you can associate. Yep. So any other questions here, please?
Hi, Lakshman. I think what are the major difference in rapid implementation sheets, ADFI?
We'll discuss because
Yeah.
now again
So
if I start talking about it, there will be many questions, no doubt.
Summarize it means what exactly? So, means exactly.
Okay, fine. We'll see then high level. This rapid implementation sheet we use for configuration purpose. We'll provide configuration data within that. By using this, you can create your accounting calendar, you can create the chart of accounts, primary ledgers, legal entities, business units. This ADFDI to create the transactions purpose. This is for data migration or conversions. At the time of implementation, we do data conversion or data migration as a one-time activity, loading the master data and transactional data. That purpose we use FBDI. And ADFDI, just you want to allow the user to create invoice in the spreadsheet, not within the application directly. Okay, or you want to allow the user to create asset within the spreadsheet, not in the application directly. In that case, RI for configuration, ADFDI sheets for to create the transactions within the spreadsheet, FVDI sheets for data conversion or say migration process. Clear? Any questions, please?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, fine.
Lakshman, I have a question related to abstract role.
Yeah, tell me.
Like, let's say if I create a job role and there is no abstract role associated to my user, then can I create transaction in the application?
No, see, abstract role not to perform the transaction. And one more point here, all the roles are classified into broad level config setup roles, just job roles. Okay, say configuration roles we have and the transactional roles we have. Okay, configuration roles we have. For configuration related roles, we don't associate anything. Transactional roles only we associate some data objects, like it could be primary ledger or business unit or something else. When you talk about abstract role you are not associating to user to perform the transaction, to have access to specific and relevant data related to employee. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, we never assign anything to abstract role, not required. Okay.
Okay.
We have a roles separate roles,
No.
configuration roles and transaction roles. These configuration roles are transaction roles, both are job roles. Simple example, EBS, you have a responsibility called as system administrator, right? Do you assign something to system administrator to do some activities within the sysadmin?
No.
No. Here also same. We have a few roles.
No.
Those you use for configuration purpose only. You never assign anything. You are creating the payable super user responsibility. That means that is for transaction purpose. For that, you should assign your operating unit and primary ledger in EBS. Here also same. Okay, that will come to know. Like once you start creating the user, there we can see that. Fine. Any other questions here, please?
Okay, no, actually, my doubt is the understanding which I have is if a user does not have abstract role, then they cannot submit the requests. But apart from that, anything else, any other privilege which a user can't do if abstract roles are not there?
One second. The same point I mentioned when I was talking about abstract roles, I clearly mentioned self-service access, the employee-related information, accessing the pay slips, raising the requisition, the employee required laptop or employee required stationery, they have to raise the requisition, and employee spends some expense, they have to book that expense report for reimbursement purpose, or else uh, some HR and payroll related information, the basic information which organization provision for every employee, that self-service access employee user required. That privileges can be given to every user with the help of this abstract role. Clear?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yes. That is a simple point. Okay. Self-service access. Okay. Employee self-service access can be given to any user by assigning this abstract role. That's all. And along with that, in EBS, if you have access to any responsibility, by default, you will have access to SRS window, right? For SRS window purpose, you don't need to do any activity. It could be any responsibility.
Yes.
But within that SRS window, you will have a reports and programs are not secondary thing. That totally depends whether you within your request group you have reports or not, right? Even if you don't assign request group to your responsibility, also you can find the SRS window.
Yes.
But it doesn't consist of anything. But here, okay, in Fusion what we do is the role itself consists of duty roles. Here we discuss that point. The role itself consists of duty roles, privileges. Along with that, role itself consists of reports access also. So in EBS, the reports access or programs access will provision to any user through responsibility with the concept called as request group, right? Here there is no separate definition. So the user required access to which privileges or which duty roles, those will include within the job role. This user required access to 5 reports. 5 reports also will include within the job role only, or include within the duty role. Okay. So that means job role consists of duty roles, privileges, including the reports access also. There is no separate definition to manage the reports.
Okay.
Even you have your reports access for the role, still it won't allow you to go to that window where you can submit the reports. You have to associate the role called as employee. So then only your system will show that navigation to go to the page and to submit available reports.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions from anyone, please?
And like in case of EBS, we had the concept of menu exclusions and things like that. We don't have that in Fusion.
Yeah. So in EBS, compared to EBS, managing the menus in EBS, managing the roles in Fusion, managing the roles task is very easy. Okay, in Fusion you have a flexibility. You can copy one role and you can easily modify, and you can create new role. It's a very pretty easy process, and you can compare one role with another role. So this is how they made very easy. That is the reason instead of exclusions and all, what we do is we copy the role and just will remove that. There is no exclusion and all we do here. Simply just with one click you can copy any role, and if you want to change the name you can change it, and you can remove something and you can add something. That's how we got very good flexibility. In case of EBS, copying and comparing it is and all not possible. That's the reason that exclusions we have. Here there is a great flexibility of copying and easily modifying. That is the reason we don't have exclusions concept here.
Okay.
Yep. So any other questions from anyone, please? No questions. Okay, for today we can stop here. From next weekend we'll try to spend minimum 2 hours. Okay, exactly 2 hours. From next weekend onwards we can start with the system also. Next weekend what we'll talk about user, then we'll create the user. We'll talk about FSM. We'll create the implementation project. That's how we'll slowly will get into the application to get introduced with the basic things. Then we can start with the actual core configuration. Okay. So I'll be writing each and everything in the spreadsheet. The same sheet I'll be sharing with everyone. Okay, even if you start with the GL or AAP or AR, any application, the configuration, process, future specific setups and a process, everything will write in the spreadsheet. And I'll be sharing. You can keep this sheet with you for reference purpose. Okay. Now, any questions from anyone related to this course or related to today session or yesterday session or anything? You can go ahead.
Yeah, Lakshman, just a question.
Yeah.
So, like in EBS, to access or to work on the instance, the minimum requirement you should have the J initiator or something.
Not required.
So
Not required. Here, nothing is required from any device which is connected with the internet. You can connect to our instance.
Okay. So, is there like any like mobile app also for this Fusion?
Mobile apps need to be. We have to build. They give an option within the application only. We can build that mobile app.
Okay.
Okay. It's a responsive, like the instances all will work very responsive, means based on device, the display you can get, which we call as a responsive instance or website. Ideally, it's an instance, so it's very much responsive based on the device which you use. Yeah. Any other questions?
Hey, Lakshman, just a generic question.
Yeah.
I know in Oracle, they market pretty much. They're saying that you can save a lot of money, transferring from EBS to Fusion and everything, right? Is that how true it is?
Okay. The first point is for fresh new clients, investment is not required for capital as a capital expenditure, server infrastructure and all. The other thing, the existing clients, they no need to pay too much of maintenance fee, and I mean again 2 points we'll discuss. For new clients, so no license fee, it's only subscription fee. There they can save a lot. And new clients, they no need to buy too much. They no need to invest good amount of money for server infrastructure and all. So in case of cloud, nothing is required. That's how they can save. And the other point is your technical team. Here, technical team in the sense your DBAs. Okay, you don't need to maintain the DBAs or network admin, etc. Security, who will take care of all the aspects. That team you don't need to maintain. That is managed by Oracle. But again, the user experience will become very rich compared to EBS. Many things, the automation and dashboards and everything provided. If some information need to be identified, some user, they may spend 5 minutes of time to find out what details they require. In case of cloud, because of these dashboards and all, the searching and finding the information pretty much easy. Like what they do within 4 to 5 minutes, they can do within 1 minute. That's how you may reduce the number of resource who will be working on the application. Okay. And here
How about
you are not going to depend
this?
on your own technical team in terms of any DB activities, etc. You can find very quick support from Oracle. The moment you need any sort of action on the instance from the DBA team, they can do it. In case of your own project, we are not very sure whether all the time will be having DBA and the task will be completed immediately within the expected time, etc. So these are the points, and the service what they provide, the charge it's a little bit less compared to EBS environment sort of deployments.
How about a technical consultant? Is that required or no?
Technical consultants hardly they required for very limited tasks. You want to
Okay.
do third party integration, yes, you need a SOA expert, service oriented architecture. SOA expert required to do the third party integrations. And you want to develop the BA reports, the BA developer you require. And if you go with the pass model, which allows customizations, functionality customizations, you need a ADF developer. Okay, if you want to customize the workflows, you need a BPM expert, like workflow developer we have, right? In EBS, in the same way, BPM expert we require.
So those are just one-time requirements.
Yeah, same as in EBS also one time only. But here, in case of SaaS, no customization is possible related to functionality. So, and primarily conversions, functional consultant can do it, where it is mandatory. In the EBS, all need to be executed by technical only. Yeah.
So, Lakshman, is there something XML is got replaced in Fusion?
Sorry.
XML reporting.
Yeah, we have those templates with the templates only. All BIP there we can use any option, any output formats you can use. XML we have.
Okay.
Lakshman, you will cover technicality or functionality.
Functional, this is a functional training.
Okay.
Okay, as a functional
Because some of the company they are.
as a functional consultant, where you have to be responsible, what you have to handle. So we'll be covering everything in our classes.
Okay. Not as a technical.
No, it's not for technical type. It's not for technical consultants.
Okay. So mainly technical, they will go for web API.
Not web ADI. Web ADI not. Technical people ideally they learn SOA and ADF.
Okay.
And BIP.
Okay.
And
Okay.
BPM. These are the four primary areas they learn.
Okay.
But demand is very, very less.
So, in EBS, even though we are functional, we know the tables behind these subledgers and templates. So, what about in Fusion? Are you going to talk about the changes in the tables or?
See the tables, there are no much changes. Okay, there are no much changes in the Fusion. Directly like EBS, you cannot go to record history and you cannot see the table or view name. That is not possible in Fusion applications since all are web pages. Okay, but here they given the flexibility. You just type in the Google as Oracle OER. OER stands for Oracle Enterprise Repository. Here they given the complete information. We'll be covering in our classes also, but since you have question, I'm just taking to that section. Go to financials. Here they are providing complete information, the tables, etc., each and everything. Go to use. 1 second. Seems to they changed the interface or what? 1 second. So here you can find out all the details. Go to Oracle Enterprise Repository for Fusion applications. Go to financials. Okay, here different sets of information you can find here, all the template related information, tables, etc. You can see all this. Just search for tables and views for Oracle Financial Cloud. Click on this HTML. So module wise you can see the tables and views. So you want to go to the tables or views. So I'm selecting tables. For all the modules here, left side you can see this panel, and here the same display. Say AP invoices. So these are the same. You could see the table name same. Anyway, we'll go through when we are working on the relevant area. Okay. So here you can find. Fine. Any other questions, please?
So Lakshman, so one of your person they send me regarding the payment details. So just I wanted to confirm whether
Those points we can talk later, like may not be in the session. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions from anyone, please?
Lakshman, I have the same question as it regarding payment. Can I stay on this once everyone leaves? Can we talk?
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you have any questions on that, I'll just give you a call. Your full name I could see as SK. What's your full name?
Shankar. SHANK.
Sorry? Shankar.
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 Yeah. And mine is Santosh Krishna.
Yeah, Lakshmi. Even I need a call back from you.
Actually, Lakshman, I have to talk to you regarding that because it's a little bit complicated. So
we'll talk. I'll give you a call. Okay.
I'm actually in the US.
Yeah, yeah. We'll connect. Just maybe after completing the session, within 5 minutes, I'll give you a call. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Done.
Yeah, Lakshman. Samir here.
Yeah, Samir, please.
Yeah, I need a call from you after the session.
Sure.
I need to discuss about my.
Sure. I will give you a call. Yeah. We'll do that.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
So, Lakshman, is this like you will be talking to everyone or your team member? Because I am already in touch with one of your team members.
Yeah. Team member only will take care of it. If you have any issues or if you want to talk to me regarding any specifications, I'll involve. Otherwise, they'll take care of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine. So any other?
So basically, I wanted to discuss on the.
I'll ask them to arrange a call.
Yeah. Okay.
Even you can call me. Yeah.
Sure, Pankaj.
Hey, Lakshman.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Anand.
Yeah, hi. This is Anand. I would also like to talk to you regarding some specific requirements. So can you call me?
Yeah, we'll connect. Yeah. Sure.
Thanks.
Okay. From next weekend onwards, we'll be spending more time. Then next week onwards, we'll get into the application and we'll start working on it. We'll go to the sequence, what approach we have to follow in the questions. Okay. So that's all for today. I'll be sharing this today's session video as soon as possible today itself. And
okay, roughly how much month it will take to complete? Because actually it is a weekend.
Yeah, 3 months. Okay, 3 months. And as I mentioned, like you can go with the recorded videos option also. Other side, you can start playing and you can practice. You can get complete videos from the provide instance access. You can go through You can practice. If you have any questions, we can connect, or else you can ask in the next class. On the other side, you can go through this weekend classes, or else you can plan to attend the classes in the weekdays, in the upcoming batches. However, it is flexible for you. You can plan and you can continue. You have different options.
Okay.
Fine. Okay. So that's all for today. So we'll connect in the next weekend. Meantime, any questions, any will be in touch. So thank you all. Have a good day and good night.